Clytus, I'm bored. What plaything can you offer me today?
An obscure body in the SK system. The inhabitants refer to it as the planet Earth.
How peaceful it looks. It must be annihilated. Send Rick and Danny on War Rocket Ajax. In 2013, Ming the Merciless, ruler of the known universe, declares the Earth to immediate termination. To accomplish this awesome decree, Rick and Danny are dispatched to the planet on War Rocket Ajax. The two encountered something they never thought they'd find, though. Movies. Stalled in their given task, Rick and Danny comb the movies of the Earth, sending reports of their greatness back to Mungo in what is now called the Hail Ming Power Hour. Well, hello everybody, welcome back to another episode, a special Halloween episode of the Hail Ming Power Hour, where we watch all the movies and we try to make you watch them again or for the first time, but that falls into your hands. That's your fate, not ours, right? We're just here to hand them out to you, but we can't make you drink the water, right?
We are your humble guide.
Right. And the guy with the big spoon that you drink out of is no other than, he's on that side, Danny Bennett. What's up, man?
Yeah, hey, welcome back, everybody. And we're here to talk about, hopefully, I mean, I have no doubt that most of you are fairly familiar with this movie. And you don't need to rewatch it, but you want to because it's that good. But we're also here with a third host, one of our patrons, a hardworking man of horror, Bo Ransdell. How are you doing, Bo?
I'm great. I mean, look, if we're gonna talk about any movie on board the good ship Hail Ming, it's got to be this. I like you. Anytime you invoke the name of Tom Atkins and Night of the Creeps, here it's like Beetlejuice. You say it enough times, and there I am.
I have to remember that.
The mighty Bo Ransdell. But this is the guy. Hey, let's just face it, folks. If it wasn't for Bo Ransdell and Duncan McLeish, this show wouldn't even exist. So he's the man. He's on more. He does more shows than the strippers in the champagne room. I mean,
that's true. And I wish it were as profitable. And I was as limber.
Yeah, really.
Those are both good wishes. Maybe yoga and OnlyFans. I don't know.
Yeah. I tried an OnlyFans, but it turns out there was only a fan.
I don't need your money.
Messages like, can we get this for free or what?
I don't need your money, Aunt Ruth.
Yeah. Well, this is uncomfortable for both of us, and Thanksgiving's coming up, so.
All right, we're not going to beat around the bush on this. I mean, we're just going to jump right into this and get rolling because you deserve it. So, yes, we have, talking about wasting time, we've got synopsis for the mighty Night of the Creeps. I've got two. And this first one was sent from Bay. Bo may be familiar with this person. I don't know that Danny is, but we've got a synopsis for Night of the Creeps from Neil Breen.
Oh, fantastic. I love Neil Breen and all of his work.
All right, let's see what he's got.
Hello, this is Neil Breen. I am here to tell you about Night of the Creeps. This is a serious story about things that matter. Aliens get into your head and root around. One boy has an alien make him walk, so he committed suicide. I can't believe you committed suicide. I cannot believe you committed suicide. How could you do this? How could you have committed suicide? I have so much work I'll never get done. I am continuing to hack into these government systems to see what I can find out about all this national and international corruption that I know is going on. A crisis, programmable virtual reality, programmable DNA. Homeland Security is ready. We are on the verge of mind hacking. Programmable matter. We will be linked telepathically. Special agencies are prepared. Follow me. They can't hurt me. My sack is out for all to see. Creeps.
I love the amazement on Danny's face right now because he's like, what?
It's as good as any Neil Breen movie you're ever going to see.
I thought it was Stephen Wright for a minute.
Neil Breen, Stephen Wright, there's not a lot of difference.
I was waiting for the joke, but maybe the whole thing
Yes.
was the joke.
You have to experience a Neil Breen movie.
Now I have something. See, you've guided me. At Neil Breen.
Don't hold me accountable for that, dude. All right, one more synopsis real quick. This was sent in from another person that's been kind of absent for a while, but we got Mike Tyson.
This is Mike Tyson, and I'm here to talk about one of my favorites, Night at the Creeps. I really like creeps. They're kind of like, like real thin, fluffy pancakes. And, you can put some whipped topping on them. Maybe some cherries. IHOP does them real good.
Yeah.
I've just always really liked crepes, Mike, it is crepes, not crepes. Oh. Well, I know some creeps in my time, too. That creep, Evander Holyfield. I took a bite out of his ear one time like it was a crepe. It was pretty delicious, too.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are doing, but what do you say after we're done, we all just go out and get a big old pile of crepes?
Yeah. That'd be, afternoon of the crepes.
Yeah. The prequel to Night of the Creeps is Afternoon of the Crepes. It sounds great. So I ended up having some crepes not long ago at that Pancake Pantry in Gatlinburg.
Oh yeah.
And that'll take a year off your life. It was delicious though.
Speaking of taking a year off your life, Danny Bennett, what's your number one reason to watch Night of the Creeps?
Okay, well, everybody's number one reason to watch Night of the Creeps has got to be Tom Atkins.
Yeah.
I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but it would really be doing a disservice not to say that he is the number one, probably the number 3, and maybe the number 17 reason to watch this movie, because he chews up the scenery. He's got the best one-liners, and his running gags are fantastic. Plus, when he stops and smells that rose.
Hey, did you say let the cow out of the bag, or just?
I don't want to let the cow out of the bag, man.
All right.
It's a big bag, and it was hard to get him in there.
Yeah, without a doubt, Tom Atkins. You see the shirt, right? And to this day, it's still his favorite role of any movie he's ever done. So
I read that.
Yeah.
It's got so much to chew on too. Like he's great in The Fog, and great in Halloween 3 and all that stuff. This is just it's a tour de force. It gives him the opportunity to be funny, to be very dramatic. It paints him as this anti-hero. Like, he is a suicidal alcoholic who is on a path of self-destruction and manages to be hilarious along the way. It's truly one of the great characters and performance in horror. I think. I think it's brilliant.
And so I propose that for this episode, in homage to Tom, instead of saying "What's your next reason," we just say, "Rick,
thrill me." Yeah,
thrill me.
Yeah, sure. Well, Bo, just a little FYI here. Danny has never seen Halloween 3.
It's something that I'm familiar with the movie. I know the plot of it, but I never saw it back then, and we were talking about it. I need to catch it this year.
Yeah, it's quality Tom Atkins. He's great. I mean, and always, like 6 feet away from a six pack in that movie. It's terrific. It's so good.
That's true. So, all right, taking Danny's words at heart here, Bo, thrill me.
All right, it is not just one horror movie. It is several horror movies in one.
Absolutely.
You've got kind of your sci-fi horror movie. You got your zombie horror movie. You got kind of a slasher movie in the middle of it. Like whatever you want out of a horror film, there is some piece of it in Night of the Creeps. And I love the fact that it has all these different gears. Like the funky baseline to all of it are the creeps themselves. But, you get this 50s throwback at the beginning and the zombie movie at the end, and in the middle there's like 2 or 3 kind of things, and it's so good. Like the movie just keeps, like, every time you think like, okay, well, I see where they're going here, it just takes a left turn. And I, like, the first time I saw it, this movie blew my mind.
Oh yeah.
And even watching it now, I'm still completely enamored by how often it changes up the game within the film. It's so good. Yeah.
That's actually on my list. It's a horror movie love letter. It pretty much captures everything. So, it's strange to even think that this movie came out before Monster Squad, right?
Yeah.
Even though it did. He did this one first. But this is that love letter of the the 50s sci-fi, the 60s, 70s. And then you look at, 80s as well, because that's when it takes place. But then you look at Monster Squad, which is 30s and 40s horror mixed with modern day. So he really is into this love letter kind of thing. And that's what makes these movies great. And that's what makes them stand the test of time, even though they were considered kind of flops. When I met Tom Atkins, when he was first starting to do the horror tours, he didn't have anything Night of the Creeps at his table. And people were saying, he said people kept asking, hey, where's the stuff from this movie? So people that worked at Texas Frightmare went and printed off just tons of a one still shot. They actually took the video and played it and took a still shot. He sold every picture that day that he had of that stuff. So, I mean, I got one of them too. And he's like, I can't believe this movie is just now getting to the point to where people are enjoying it like they are. So this was in, I don't know, 2008 or so. So the DVD hadn't even come out yet. So
the first time I saw Night of the Creeps, it was just a TBS movie on Tuesday night or something. I was sitting at my house. I was living at home and doing nothing. And this movie came on and I had no idea, I don't even think I knew what it was called until afterward, when I was like, what am I watching? But I mean, I was like, oh, this looks like the kind of movie I would watch. And then I watched it all the way through and I was like, what the hell did I just watch? Because I mean, when he's in the basement, anyway, the end game of that movie, it, like you said, Bo, it just blew my mind.
Yeah. All right. I got one. So not only do you get Tom Atkins, but you get Dick Miller. Even if it's for a short scene, but you get him playing Walter Paisley again, like he's played in every movie. That whole flamethrower scene is just gold.
Yeah.
The laughter that when they're both kind of chuckling about flamethrower. Oh, it must be a knife.
You're breaking out the hard artillery. Yeah.
I just need that requisition form. Yeah, that's the thing, Walt.
That's the problem.
That whole scene, it's heartwarming when you watch it now. It's like these two great genre actors clearly having a good time.
Oh yeah.
And it does your heart good, man. Anytime you see Dick Miller, it's wonderful. But seeing him kind of cut up with Tom Atkins, it's terrific. Yeah.
And it's that thing where you can tell that this movie you're allowed to turn loose. You're not taking this movie too seriously, so you can have a lot of fun with it. And I think that's something we've really lost, man. I mean, you get one here and there, but for the most part, you've kind of lost that. Hey, we're just making a fun roller coaster ride movie, which is something we've been kind of covering here the last several episodes. And, there's something so special about that we don't really see that much anymore. Everybody takes everything so literally and so seriously.
Well, I guess you can just do so much technically that, the whole Grindhouse movie that, it looks good enough isn't enough anymore. It has to look great because somebody with a lot less than you can make their movie look great. So it kind of levels the playing field. And at the same time, it makes the playing field so high that, making a movie for fun, it kind of is, unspeakable.
Yeah.
Yeah, there a couple of recent, like Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse or Deathgasm, kind of lower budget films for sure. But I mean, those are a couple of recent examples of movies where the marching order seemed to be like, what if we just have a good time making a horror movie and do some dumb stuff along the way that makes us laugh? The one thing that Night of the Creeps has that I think those don't is that it also gets the serious stuff right. Yeah. Which is such a tough balance. And hats off to Fred Decker again for being able to shift tones like that and not, wreck his movie.
I read that Fred Decker hated the dog puppet.
Yeah.
I mean, look, not everybody's right. That dog puppet is gold.
I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was better than the cat puppet.
Oh, yeah.
The dog standing in the middle of the road is one of my favorite things in the movie because it's so clearly a puppet that doesn't move. I just love it. I love everything about it.
All right, Daddy, through me.
All right, back around to me. There's so much. How about Detective Cameron's Dream?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh my God.
It's Tom Atkins sitting on the beach drinking out of a coconut, and somebody's as Miss Piggy is reverse going into the water, so she's coming out completely dry.
Yeah.
And he wakes up and he comes through and he's holding that. I like the fact that he's holding a woman's hand. When he comes into the sequence where he's walking toward the car where his lady love's being killed. Yeah. Like there are all these weird little things that's like, oh, this is a dream. I actually was watching this last night with Lois. She's never seen it before. Oh. She was like, is this a dream? And then she's like, okay, this is a dream. And then she's like, he's holding a lady's hand. And then after that whole sequence came through and he wakes up, she's like, that was a really good dream. Because not only did it cover some backstory, but it also was absurd enough that you knew it was a dream and it really did the job.
Right. And also it's got all those little tip of the hats to Jaws in there too.
Yeah.
You've got the passing of the people going by, and that's where your edits are for the flashback. You get the zoom shot with the camera like they did with Snyder. Yeah, I mean it's again, it's a love letter to all things horror.
And it's just a little piece, but it's done so well.
And a great point. I mean, how do you explain this whole backstory and relationship of making you care for these characters instead of them having to just tell it to somebody, right? So yeah, it's great. All right, Bo, that's back to you, man.
Yeah. One quick note about the edits, that Jaws edit thing.
Yeah.
It was one of the moments, I think the first time I saw this where it was like, wait a second, are they doing the Jaws edit? Because that's the greatest thing I think I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, it's terrific. And kind of piggybacking on that, so my thrill you is the fact that it's legitimately a funny movie. Not just like, it's kind of amusing and that kind of thing. It legit makes me laugh.
Yeah.
The janitor walking down the hallway going screaming like banshee. The fact that he has carried that with him all day long, that he could not get over how funny that was. Yeah. That kind of stuff. The character of JC has some legitimate lines that I think are very, very funny.
It's all Greek to me.
Yeah, the That's terrific. Yeah, funny as a crutch. Am I right?
Yeah.
You know, all
JC is a reason all by himself. He's that sidekick character that you have in so many of those movies, like My Science Project.
Yeah,
but he does it so well.
Yeah, he's a great character. I mean, there again, just all these really funny little moments, like when the Brad, the boyfriend, has been zombified.
Yeah,
and they're having that conversation on the porch of the sorority house, and she's like, Brad, I just think that we're really growing apart, and he's behind her, and those things are just falling out of his mouth.
I mean, they're making a thunk, thunk, thunk sound out of his mouth.
Oh, it's so good. It's so funny, but it's gross and wonderful. It's all those things at once. I love it.
I've got that on my list. Breaking up with Brad. That's one of my favorite parts, man. Okay, let's see. Where are we at? Oh, another reason, man. Come on. The rejuvenated serial killer. I mean, talking about shifting gears again. The fact that Tom Atkins has given the story of the past and what had happened and where he'd buried him, and then all of a sudden he comes busting up out of that lady's floor with the axe still, like he would have buried him with the axe.
Right.
He threw everything into the hole, I guess.
He's an axe killer. That's his identity. What's he going to be without an axe?
Yeah, you can't leave it as a tombstone or whatever, like a grave marker, so you just throw it in with him. I love the fact that there's that great moment where the two cops are looking for him.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, we're never going to find him. And you just see them drive by. Oh, it's so good. I love that so much.
I mean, when they catch him in the street, in the alleyway, and that's where Tom Atkins goes, basically, no effing way,
Yeah, I killed you already. Yeah. His story, when he is telling Spanky the story of killing this guy.
The best.
It's the moment where he says, guess what happened next? Are you sure you should be telling me this? Wrong.
Close.
Yeah, close. That's what it's close. Yeah. I buried him. I buried him on the campus. Yeah, it's all of that, everything surrounding that whole storyline of I killed this dude because he hacked up my girlfriend who had dumped me. And I don't know why I'm telling you this story, but I kind of feel the need to. Oh, it's so good.
And just his constant wanting to do himself in and just end everything. Oh, the whole taping up the door, turning on the gas.
Yes, pulling the tape off the door to answer it. Of like, I was almost dead. Gee, I hope this better be important.
All right, Danny, what you got next, man?
All right, I will thrill you with the eating corner. So he comes into the first crime scene. He sets down that briefcase. The only thing that's in it is this wrapped up hoagie. He puts it on his crime file, and he walks across the room and just starts eating it. He's not even walking toward the body. It's over here. He's just eating it. Again, I was watching it with Lois last night. She was like, that was a really empty case. And I was like, yeah, it was. And I was rewatching it this morning, and I had to go find her. I was like, what was in that case? A sandwich, because we noticed him eating, but I didn't notice that was the only thing in the case. It's and in every scene that guy's in, he's eating something. He eats a Twinkie when David Paymer comes off the coroner's table behind him. I had to look up that guy's name because I was like, I've seen that guy in too many things not to know his name. But and then he's eating on the porch when they find the body in front of the sorority house. I don't know what he's eating because he's finishing up, but he's still chewing it. It's just such a great gag.
It goes back to those Italian giallo detectives, right? They're either drinking or eating something. I mean, it's so
like John Saxon drinking that glass of Coke in front of that fountain.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know that I'd ever realized that was the only thing in his case was the sandwich, and that makes it about 1,000,000 times better. That's his lunchbox.
And maybe the folder was in there too, but I mean, it was like the only thing of substance that it was wrapped in cellophane. Oh man, it was so good.
Oh, all right, Bo, what you got next, man?
All right, I'm going with the heartbreaker here, and that's JC's tape that he leaves.
Yeah.
which it serves kind of two functions. That like there's the exposition that it gives you of like, oh, I'm telling the hero of our film, you can kill these things with fire.
Yeah.
But the moment that I like get the chills is when he's like, and I walked all by myself, you know.
Yeah.
And you're just like, man, this is like genuinely affecting me emotionally.
Yeah.
Because I'm so bought into their relationship, and it's partly because of the speech that JC gives him about, like, you know, I'm never going to have a girlfriend of my own because of being handicapped, or that's his perception of it, and
Right.
so I'm living vicariously through you, so I want you to be happy.
Yeah.
And it's such an emotional moment, and then it pays off with him saying, and I was able, even though I'm dead, I don't have a pulse anymore, but I'm going to be able to save you one last time.
Yeah.
And it's, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
It's good. And, you know, like, so I don't want to add to it, but two things, you know, one, JC's handicapped and he has to walk with the crutches, and there's never a point really made about that. I mean, like he says it to his friend in conversation, but it isn't like, it doesn't define that character in any way, really. And two, at the end of that, he tells him he loves him. Now, it's very possibly a platonic love, but you know, they're together, and he tells him, he said, you know, because after I heard that, I watched it the second time, it's kind of like a lot of the conversations you get, you know, he seems enamored with his friend. He wants him to be happy, just like we do for all of our friends, but it seems like there might be something a little more there. I don't know if that's there because it's not underlined, because it's not necessary. But both of those are things that are in the movie that you don't expect to be there for a movie that's this fluffy, you know.
Right. Yeah.
It's they could be there. You could read them in, but it's something that you might find in a movie that's very dramatic. You know, you might find in American Beauty or something where it's like, well, I wonder about this character. You don't expect the CJ character to be the character that you're wondering about, because it's just like you said, this final speech has such gravity that it adds more drama to the whole movie. I think it's great.
Well, my favorite role that JC had is when he was in Just One of the Guys. So
Yeah.
I thought him and the girl from that kind of looked the same.
Okay, you had me going there. I was like, because he looked familiar, and I kept thinking, I've seen this guy in something. But I looked him up, and he looks like he's mostly a producer. I kind of looked him up to see if he really had to walk with those crutches, or if that was just a thing.
Yeah, I mean that scene though. Back to Bo's discussion of that is, again, you're on this fun roller coaster ride. You got some scares and spooks here and there, and it gets really dark and really serious at this point. And like you said, it's laying down the information of the aha. Here's how you can win. So it's just, again, it's brilliant how this movie is put together. For somebody to take the concept of, I'm going to take all these different ideas that I love growing up and make a functioning movie out of it, and it actually work. That says a lot about the writing. So, yeah. Decker's the man.
Yeah, it really is a high wire act of a screenplay, and the fact that it works even half as well as it does would be a shock.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to say one of my favorite scenes is the bathroom scene, right? Because that's kind of where JC's doing his business in the bathroom, and that's where the janitor comes in, his head's busted open, you got all the little slugs going everywhere. That's where you find out they can be killed by fire. But the cool things about it is in the stall, there's two things. When he's sitting there in the stall is written Striper Rules. Which, growing up, I was a huge Striper fan, so that was a big deal. But how about out in the actual bathroom lobby, you see a sign that says Go Monster Squad.
Yeah. So, it's a nice little breadcrumb. Like if like Midnight Mass, that new Mike Flanagan joint, recently somebody pointed out, like, oh, there's a copy of the book Midnight Mass and a couple of other Flanagan movies.
Yeah.
Well before he had ever done it. So yeah, it's definitely Fred Dekker being like, guess what's coming, y'all.
Yeah, here you go.
I love that. Yeah.
Striper Rules coming next.
To hell with the devil.
Yeah.
Coming at you.
Hell with Yeah.
Well, I know you're a big Striper fan, but I mean, what about the other rock and roll cameo in this with Brian Johnson driving the bus?
That's pretty close.
I mean,
Pretty
he's
good.
got the hat, he's got the hair, he's got the eyes.
For those about to rock. Oh yeah, man. Go ahead, Danny. I guess that's you next, man.
All right.
Nice shirt. Nice shirt, by the way.
Oh, thanks. This is fast printed shirts out of Texas.
Oh yeah, we like those guys a lot.
Yeah. So I mentioned it earlier, and I just want to mention it again because, so I was reading just director's commentary things, and I love director's commentaries, but apparently the scene where Detective Cameron smells the rose on the way into the sorority house was ad-libbed because Tom Atkins said the character was a romantic, so he felt like he should do that. And I think that's funny because later Plan 9 from Outer Space is playing on a movie or on the house mother's TV screen.
Right.
And it's the scene where Bela Lugosi stops and smells the rose.
Yep.
On the way out of the house. I don't know if he picks it or if he just smells it, but that's not the part of the scene it's showing. He's walking out the door, but he's about to.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this was an homage to that because, Plan 9 from Outer Space is in there, even that scene. But then I read the director said that was ad-libbed by Tom Atkins. So that's just a fantastic coincidence.
Cool.
If it is. I mean, the director might have not known, but or done it and just not remembered or whatever. But
there's another mention of Plan 9 in the 50s segment as well, where one of the girls mentions Plan 9 from Outer Space as well.
And what about that meteor?
Yeah.
It's all in fire. It's coming in. It looks like a briquette from the barbecue. Just it's great. I mean, it looks like something. It's on a string or whatever.
Yep.
It looks just
Classic
like something
50s.
out of a 50s.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I love the fact too, and we're jumping around everywhere, but still, just the whole opening with, you got the alien that's got the slug in it. You can see it in its eyes. Its eyes are a different color, running around naked, getting ready to launch these slugs out. Right? I mean, again, trying to take all these things and make a movie out of it. You're like, how's that possibly going to work? And it does.
And the closed captions. I love the closed captions. They're just alien symbols. It's like, why bother to show me the translation that I can't read?
I also like the fact that if you haven't seen this movie in about 10 years, you will completely forget that it starts in space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a bar bet you can win if somebody's like, oh yeah, I remember seeing Night of the Creeps. I bet you $100 that it starts in space with little naked aliens. You're like, no, it doesn't.
Oh, so Bo, you got something else?
Yeah, this is really just one line, and it goes back to our Tom Atkins love.
Oh, yeah.
But it is a line that I think is maybe my favorite of the movie, where Tom Atkins, it's after Christine Cameron has basically bared her soul and said, like, here's what I think is going on, and there are all these little slug things and whatnot that it came out of this guy's head at the window. And Tom Atkins steps out of the shadows and says, zombies, exploding heads, creepy crawlies, and a date for the formal. Classic Spanky. I love that so much.
All of his lines are so good.
Yeah.
But he's met this kid once, and it's just like, that's Spanky to a T,
Yeah.
Oh my God. You're right. Everything that comes out of his mouth is gold to one degree or another.
Yeah,
but man,
you're right though.
Oh, that line makes me laugh so hard. I just, it like, if on my deathbed, I hope somebody has the foresight to just lean down and whisper that into my ear, and then I know everything will be all right.
Oh, Danny, you got any more?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so my next reason to watch, or my next thrilling moment, in the sorority house, Detective Cameron sees the cameo of his lady love on the wall when there's the zombies behind him and two more coming toward him. He's been trying to reload the gun, and then he starts shooting them, and this 360-degree camera. It's like they got him on a lazy Susan, spinning him around, and he's killing them all. And he becomes the badass that he's been the whole movie. But a few minutes before that, he wasn't. Just I guess so he could become it again.
It's one moment scene. Of danger,
because the way that it's done is just so campy with the room spinning around behind him while he's just killing these zombies.
It's like they just threw him into an anime all of a sudden,
Yeah.
He becomes Goku, yeah.
And this was way before The Matrix.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
but it's around the same time as Dancing on the Ceiling, so
hard to argue.
Oh,
I don't know when Dancing on the Ceiling came out. So.
Well, it's better left unsolved. I've kind of hit my list as far as everything that I've got, but you can keep going. You can keep going, though. I mean, come on. I mean,
let me throw one out there.
Yeah.
A legitimately different director's cut.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I remember seeing, like Danny was saying, I remember seeing this on like TV and HBO and that kind of thing when I was younger, and having a very distinct impression of what this movie was. And the end of the director's cut is substantially different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that it really kind of recontextualizes a lot of them. Well, to some degree, but certainly brings back the alien stuff from the beginning of the movie.
Right.
Which, if you've seen Night of the Creeps, you've never seen the director's cut. The original version of the movie ends with, our heroes kissing outside the house after it explodes. After again another moment where chills go up my spine of the kid saying, "Detective, thrill me," and then kaboom. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And then they kiss, and then they see the dog that upended the bus, and it vomits out the slug. And then the director's cut is not anything with the dog, but our heroes kiss, and then you see Tom Atkins all burned up to a charcoal briquette walking away from the house.
Yep.
Making his way to the edge of the cemetery where he collapses and slugs escape. And then you see the alien ship come over looking for these slugs as they're presumably infecting a bunch of people in these graves.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, that's a really rad ending to this movie that I had never seen before, they released that Blu-ray director's cut.
Right. And I still like the original cut the best, because it left it to that point. Whereas, I understand giving it a kind of a wrap up, but I don't know. I mean, I like both, but I still prefer the original cut myself. And that may be just because that's the impression you get, right? It'd be like if they came out with another cut of Reanimator and they added some extra stuff. You'd be like, it's nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, it's this one, because that ending of the dog and one coming out of its mouth and it goes to the camera and it just goes black. I mean, basically saying it never ends. But on the other side, you get kind of a Return of the Living Dead kind of ending, right? So,
well, I like that this director's cut isn't like, we have 8 more seconds of this gory effect shot. It's like, no, this is totally different. You know?
Yeah, it totally gives it something different.
Yeah, apparently an editor went in and re-edited Fred Decker's whole movie because they were upset with how much they wanted to cut a ton out of it. Like, he apparently had a whole lot more movie, and they kept telling him that they would come onto the set with a stopwatch, and I'm sure that was difficult for him to work under. I'm glad that his story got put out there, because it would suck to put so much love and so much work into something just to have somebody else cut it to ribbons. But
it's not a huge difference, though. I mean, you're talking maybe a minute extra footage.
Yeah,
Bo. I mean, that's kind of what it's not much.
It's not a ton, but I like the fact that it changes it changes the conclusion of the movie, and
it really does.
It sort of implies that our heroes are going to survive and go on, as opposed to now they're probably infected.
Right.
And also I like seeing the corpseified Tom Atkins with the cigarette still in his mouth, shuffling along.
Yeah, it's pretty good. My favorite part is when he stands up and he says,
"You can count on my stool."
Wait, wasn't that CJ in the bathroom sequence?
Yeah. And we've talked about them, but I think the actual look of the creeps themselves and the way they wiggle across the floor and everything, really unsettling.
Yeah.
I think that's really creepy.
It still works.
When CJ's on the bathroom floor and they're just like zipping around all directions, it's like, you're never getting out of there, man.
Yeah.
There's like 80 of them in there.
How about the one that when he puts the matches down there and the one hits it? It's almost like seeing a car wreck at Daytona or something. It's like,
well, and one of them one of them cuts his hand or something. He reaches down for those matches and he's like, "Ow!" It's like, what did it do?
Yeah. Hey, how about the fact that we are conveniently storing brains in the basement of the sorority? I mean.
The point where they go downstairs where Spanky and his girlfriend with the flamethrower are heading down the steps, and the kind of reveal of, here are a bunch of shelves, here's Tom Atkins with duct tape over his mouth, which I really like, telling them like, get out of here, and then you sweep to the right and there's just a writhing pile of these things.
Yeah.
And especially when they're on their way out and you see them like skittering along the rafters and that kind of thing, it's like, this is gross.
And what about, like you said, he's got the tape over his mouth and he moves it to tell him to get out. One of them shoots for his mouth and he just catches it midair. I mean,
I don't think
that's the
so,
most
you son of a
badass
bitch.
thing I think I've ever seen in a movie. Because up until then, everybody's like, "Oh no!"
Right.
He's just like,
JC's like, "Oh!" And he's like,
it just throws it back down, like back to the pile with you. Yeah.
How about when they get ready to attack him, though, they create this formation? It's like they know what they're doing. It's like there's 5 or 6 of them like, all right, 1, 2, 3, go.
Right, we got a flying V this guy because he's just too cool for one-on-one creep action. Yeah, it's terrific.
So awesome. And again, I mean, if you don't watch this movie and don't have fun with it, then, man, you're a sad, depressed person.
Yeah, it's the whole reason in the movie Lost After Dark that I did, the whole reason that they all have names that are reminiscent of horror directors and scream queens is because of this movie, because this movie was so formative. I was like, well, if Fred Decker can do it, what's good for the goose. So yeah, I totally ripped that off from Night of the Creeps.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just take your pick, man. It's pretty much every name, right?
Yeah, well, it's just, I mean, it's a tip of the hat. It's basically saying, like, I love the genre so much, and a bunch of people have done it now, and, it's kind of old hat, but, it definitely is sort of acknowledging that you love this genre, and you want to, just kind of pay homage to the directors, and Fred Decker did it. I as far as I know, before anyone else I had ever seen do it. Yeah, and I really like that. I think that's a really nice move. As if the movie itself didn't tell you that this guy loves horror movies. He's like, no, they're all named after modern and classic horror directors. So yeah, It's great.
All right, anybody got anything else?
I just wanted to make sure we paid some lip service to that, that last stand in the basement before we were out, because that. Oh yeah. But Bo brought it up for sure.
Yeah, there's still so much stuff. I mean, there's so many little bitty things like getting the guy to go answer the phone. It's got the unibrow. There's. I mean,
that thing in the basement that when he starts counting and then gives Spanky the wink.
Yeah,
like kind of saying like, it's cool. I know that I'm gonna die, but this is kind of where I've wanted to do this for a while.
All right. This gives my death a purpose.
Yeah.
The only thing that, and we pointed out the whole way through, is the self-awareness of the film. There are a lot of quips to, what is this, a B movie? Or I would rather have aliens from space invade my brain. Like there's a lot of the actors know, the characters kind of know, the movie knows itself. And it's not like looking at the camera and delivering a line kind of thing, but it's definitely the writer of the movie wants you all to know that he's in on the joke.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I think that's kind of, that can be a double-edged sword. That can really sink your movie if your movie is kind of crap. and you're like, hey, what are we, a B movie? And it's like, it turns out yes. Right. But in this movie, it's just done with such affection, and the movie itself, like if you strip that out, the movie would still be awesome. And
I agree.
The fact that it's also just, again, it's that tip of the cap of like, yeah, we know this is kind of a B horror movie, but you can be a wonderful one of those and still have a great time. And again, the fact that this movie kind of wrings genuine emotion out of the characters of what is essentially just a kind of a B horror movie is tremendous. It's so good.
I can't tell you how many times in life that I've used this from the movie. Dang!
I got attacked by a wasp. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Landed right on me.
We don't normally have wasp in here. We need to have that checked out, Danny.
Yeah, there's...
I'm not knocking that thing down. If I knock down that thing, you're going to sting me. Sorry, Bo.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I normally I kind of had my eyes on it, and then the next thing I knew, it was on me.
Oh, that was funny because I was watching him earlier, and I noticed he kept like looking up, like I was like, "What's going on?" And now we know. Yeah. There's
turns out there's an infestation on the ship.
Oh, maybe if you get stung, you turn into a zombie. Who knows?
I mean, fingers crossed.
This might have something to do with those little short naked dudes that came on last week. They were working on the AC units.
Billy and Scott.
Hail Ming.
less scary dad, more scary creeps.
Cool. All right, so what we're going to do right now, folks, we're going to take a little short break. We'll be right back. Well, I said we would.
He's a no-nonsense maverick looking to clean up the streets. Ah, my nose, you broke it. It's all red and swollen.
Looks fine to me.
He's a raging animal looking for payback.
You think you got what it takes to take the tarantula off the streets? The tarantula runs this place, man. Spider on the wall. Don't you have any brains at all?
Now these two renegade cops have teamed up, and all hell is about to break loose.
We don't stop shooting until the screaming stops. Let's send these sons of bitches to hell.
They've got the style.
Hey, detective, we got a blood sample over here. Let's run it through the bozo pewter.
They know the deal.
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
And the ladies know they've got the sex appeal.
No more games. I find you so sex lost.
This is really gonna piss off Boris.
What do you want, clown? You want me to play ball?
No, I want you to play...
This summer, Moose and Clown take it downtown. Detective Bozo the Clown, Detective Bullwinkle Moose in Thrill Me.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
This'll keep it quiet.
Oh, hi there. I didn't see you. You caught me cutting a new show. I'm Bo Ransdell, and I'm one of the many creators you can find on Legion Podcasts. I said quiet! My fellow podcasters and I work hard to bring you the best in horror podcasting, but that comes at a cost.
Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Not that, but also yes. No, what I'm getting at is that there are server costs, costs for good microphones and software for editing, all the things that make our shows, fun to listen to. And you can help. If you're enjoying the shows on legionpodcasts.com or in the Legion Network available on iTunes and Stitcher, just about anywhere you can download a podcast, really, you can help us out and get a little something for your trouble at patreon.com/Legion Podcasts. For just $2 a month, you get a pair of movie commentaries exclusive to Patreon, and for $5, you can also join us for a monthly screening of a movie. All of that available on patreon.com/Legion Podcasts. We appreciate it, and thank you for listening. Now, back to the cutting room.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And man, again, we can't talk enough about Night of the Creeps. It's just a stone cold classic. If you have not seen this movie and you call yourself a horror fan, you're missing a critical point in your horror watching career. That's for sure. So make sure you check this movie out. You can see all three of us are all doing this. So you can't recommend this movie high enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies ever. Like it's a total comfort food for me. If the world is bringing me down, I can throw on Night of the Creeps and immediately feel better about things. It's just the best.
Absolutely. Anything to say, Danny, on that?
I agree. It's a lot of fun, and just to your point, we could talk all day about it, but your time would be better spent to just go ahead and track it down and play it for yourself, because you'll enjoy every minute.
Absolutely. And being that we're so caring about you, normally in these shows we do our show, right? Our prize game called Get Fact. But being that we have guests, we decided that our guest is more important than you, so we're not going to do those. But I do want to say we have had a winner. For all of you that either have been listening or are not listening and don't know what we're talking about, we've been giving away prizes, y'all. And I want to say this gift right here is for John Bell. He won from our last episode that we had to Get Fact on. Now, he's not getting this case because that's my personal case for 2001 and the Kubrick trilogy. But what he is getting is what's the gift that's inside that really matters, which is a copy of, where are we at? Werewolf versus the Vampire Women. Not to mention we're going to send in some other Hell Ming goodies as well. So congratulations, John, on that. We appreciate
also directed by Stanley Kubrick.
Yes.
A lot of people know that.
Not a lot of people. I just want to know who wins.
Well, you have to watch the movie, yo.
I know.
Well, right now, John Bell won, so.
Congratulations, John Bell.
Yeah.
No matter who wins, we lose. I think is how it goes.
Yes, that's kind of the truth. So there you go, folks. We've lived up to our word. We actually are giving away prizes, even though we didn't intend to.
Hail Ming.
All right. So enough about us. Bo, tell us what's going on in the world of Legion Podcast.
What's not going on in the world of Legion Podcast? No, we're in the midst of doing the 31 Days of Halloween. As of this recording. We got almost a week left. And so I've been dropping little mini episodes every day, just movie recommendations and mini reviews and that kind of thing. Gary has been doing 31 Days of Howling Beasts, which drop in like chunks. So every few days you'll get a big chunk of those. Then all the normal stuff that you get, shows like this and Psychosomatic and Cinema Psyops and Legion After Dark is coming back at the beginning of the year.
Oh, good.
Working on that stuff. Friday Nightmares going strong. I mean, just the hits don't stop coming, Ricky.
Yeah.
And then I personally, the show that I do personally is a show called The Dark Parade. And that is a horror themed podcast, which features a number of sort of mainstream episodes that are a look at various horror films. We just wrapped up the Psycho series. The Psycho 4, The Beginning, is about to drop. And in addition to that, there's also Morbid Mondays, which are general news and conversation kind of episodes, and then Found Footage Fool. All this is under Dark Parade. Found Footage Fool is the fact that I can't stop watching found footage movies and I need some outlet to vent about them. And it's
so many of them are so bad.
Well, okay, so I set up a list of 5 criteria that makes a good found footage movie, and I basically just judge against those 5 criteria. And you're right, most of them fail miserably at least 2 of the criteria.
I'll have to give that a listen because I'm similar. Rick can tell you, ever since the genre came out, I really can't resist checking them out, even when I can see that they're not going to be good. I have to watch them.
Yeah, it's a real sickness, and I'm glad that you share it as well, because at least I know I'm not alone. But I start going through those Tubi lists and I'm like, this one's about a haunted asylum. You know, they all are about haunted asylums, it turns out. So but yeah, I adore watching those movies, but then when I get to the end of it, I start questioning my life. And so those little bonus episodes are me trying to make sense of this perversion I have. But yeah, so all of that stuff is under Dark Parade, which of course is on Legion Podcasts. And if you go to legionpodcasts.com, you can subscribe to that show and the whole feed, so you get every show on the network. Or you can just find the individual shows there and subscribe to the ones you like. Whatever you want to do. You can also go to youtube.com/Legion Podcasts. There's live streams and some video versions of the podcast and whatnot. And if you really want to support the network, you can go to patreon.com/Legion Podcasts. And on that Patreon, you get early access to some of the shows. You get exclusive access to shows and bonus episodes that you can't hear anywhere else. And then once a month, you'll also get a video program called the Ouija Experiment, which is a series that I do with a rotating series of guests, where we look at a movie with the word Ouija in the title, and using scientific measurement determine whether or not it's a successful movie.
Have you covered every Ouija way but loose yet?
Not that we haven't done that one. We've done Ouija Mummy, we've done Ouija Shark, we've done Ouija Warehouse. The Ouija Room, I think we've already covered. But it turns out that they drop about 3 of these a day, so we're never gonna run out. So there's one that's been floating around called Ouija Japan that's just like, it's just a matter of time before that appears. And Ouija Shark 2 is either out or coming out, so
Ouija Shark 2.
Yeah, just when you thought it was safe to go back to the Ouija board, it's Ouija Shark 2.
I'm trying to think of how that could possibly work.
Well, it's got to tie back to Ghost Shark, right? Somehow.
It's a giant puppet floating shark that attacks people in Ouija Shark. And I can only assume, and the budget of Ouija Shark was about $37. And I think they've doubled it for Ouija Shark 2. So that we're in for something special. We're not in 3 figures yet, but high 2s.
Yeah. We'll both be in trouble if there's like a, Ouija Shark Diaries, where they have the found footage of the first people to find Ouija. I'll be stuck watching it. It'll probably be 6 hours long too.
Yeah. Ouija
and nothing will happen until like 4 minutes till the end.
All right. That is the biggest problem with any of the Ouija movies, is taking the wrong lessons away from Blair Witch, of like, well, you just slowly ramp up the tension until everything kind of explodes at the end.
Right.
Which it totally works for Blair Witch Project, but it turns out if you don't have like good improvisational actors for your film, it just turns into unwatchable dreck.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, boy, it sure is scary camping out here. And that's like 15 minutes of your movie. Oh, it's just the worst.
Then it's kind of like, that's great. That's great.
This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the Behind the Sightings was the first one I did for Found Footage Fool, which was all about, hey, what about all these clown sightings that happened in like 2016? But it takes place in the modern day, and they're like, oh, like the movie missed the wave of that.
Right.
So, and also doesn't answer the central question of what's behind the sightings. It's just some stuff that happens. And then you're like, well, that doesn't explain anything. So,
wow.
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
That's just that requires a lot of time. I'm sitting there going, how in the world do you have time to dive into this stuff?
It's because my girlfriend is a nurse, and so she works a bunch.
Yeah.
And leaves me alone to do stupid shit like watch found footage movies and movies with Ouija in the title. And then she's like, what did you do today? And I'm like, it's better that you don't know, because you're gonna have so much less respect for me on the other side of that conversation.
And what's bad is, even if it was like porn or something, be like, okay, but Ouija again?
Right.
Come on.
Yes. If I was like, I've been feeling sexy all day, baby. It's not that. It's like, I just watched a bunch of people wander around in the woods for about 80 minutes. And then there was like 3 minutes where a Bigfoot chased them.
Right.
That you get to see like its shoulder,
Yeah. Right. Like a flash. It just sweeps across the camera real quick. Looks about as good as the Sasquatch costume I've got right over my shoulder. I'm embarrassed as a person, but also I can't stop.
Totally understandable.
One of these days I'm going to walk into my house and like all my friends will be sitting there on a couch with like a mediator there. Like, look, we're doing this because we care about you, and we need you to stop watching these found footage movies. I quit anytime I want. I can stop.
We looked at your Christmas list. All you wanted was a Ouija board.
Right. Yeah, and a prosumer grade camera. Yeah, if I could make Ouija basement about it being haunted by wasps.
Yeah. Ouija tent. I mean, sky's the limit, man.
Yeah. Every time I watch these movies,
Ouija Bigfoot.
That exists already. That is 100% already a thing. I just haven't watched it yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm behind.
I know. I know. Like, no matter how dumb you think your idea is, it's already been made.
It's like they just went through the dictionary, found all the nouns, and added Ouija in front of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I can get pretty stupid. Like Ouija Herculoids.
It all started with Ouija Aardvark, though.
Oh, yeah. All from Ouija Aardvark to Ouija Zinkleberry.
Yeah.
It's a very rare berry found in
Zinkel. Yeah.
Yeah.
But somehow all these movies are still 90 minutes long. You know, like.
Like, fingers crossed. I feel a little bit better when I hit one that's like 87 minutes or 82 minutes. I'm like, all right, well, at least it's not 90 minutes.
Right.
I don't know why that 8-minute difference matters, but it does.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
I could fit in those 8 minutes. I could probably fit in like, Ouija backyard.
Yeah, sure. Ouija bathtub, It's,
yeah,
again.
like I said, Ouija hospice care. All of it works.
Yeah.
I think Ouija backyard is a porno.
There probably is like a Ouija OnlyFans.
All right. I don't know where to go from this. So we about Ouija'd out. Bo, man.
We should get out of here.
Man, we really appreciate you coming on. It's always a blast. And just thanks for everything you do for everybody here at Legion. And just, again, you're just the best.
Oh, thank you guys. It's always a pleasure to do this. And yeah, hey, we're going to Talon Springs tonight. I know you guys are relatively close. So, feel free to join us for the haunted houses in the greater Kentucky area.
Yeah, I've got to actually go play a gig tonight in Kentucky, so I won't be able to make the haunted thing, but I'll be around a bunch of rednecks, so I don't know which is scarier.
Yeah, we're going to eat at that Patty's Plantation place and then going to haunted houses. So that's my Kentucky evening.
You know what? You'll be close to where I'll be actually. So that's
nice.
Not bad. Yeah.
All right. Well, depending on how the haunts go, you'll have to let me know where you are.
All right, man. Thanks. Appreciate you coming on, man. Everybody, we will check you later. Adios.